I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah. React if you have to, yeah. Don't know the time, yeah. Just know that I'm, yeah, one of a kind, yeah. What's on your mind, yeah. What hard to find, yeah. Beautiful mind, yeah. Still in my prime, yeah. Just know that I'm here.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff. I'm the producer of Pound Offs Anonymous, and I help book the guests and help shape the conversations, and I'm usually sitting in the room and participating when the stories get told. Season 2 in 2025 was us bringing the show back after a long break, almost 5 years away. And honestly, we didn't really know what was coming and what coming back was going to look like. We didn't know who would still be listening or who we would pick up along the way. And we didn't know how this would feel after stopping for nearly 5 years and stepping away. But we did know why we wanted to do it. Because this show has existed from day one for honest conversations. It's not the cleanest version of a podcast you'll ever hear. It's just people talking about what their lives actually look like. So yeah, what you're about to hear is a look back to some of the conversations from season 2. Not all of them, just a few that really stuck, and just a few clips from each episode that we picked. And honestly, we're just glad we got to spend time with. So we're going to start things off with Megan Gehrs. Megan's someone who's been deeply involved in the local recovery community, and she's been open for a long time about what her own recovery has actually looked like. She came back on the show after 5 years from season 1. So she came back in season 2, and this time she brought Bree Badgley with her. And Bree's someone who talks honestly about sobriety, trauma, and what it's like to keep showing up when things aren't clean and easy. Here's part of that conversation.
We didn't get a Badgley dinner celebration for your coin this past time.
Because they have been gone.
Last time we went to, where did we go? The top of some hotel in St. Louis.
That's what I'm talking about.
Where was that?
It was that restaurant at the Four Seasons.
That's a Gerard Craft place.
Yep.
The top of it?
The Badgleys took all of us, and you got all these drunks.
Blair lives like right over by you. I passed your house when you got the big Illinois flag outside.
That's me, baby.
Yeah.
Fucking bad night last night.
Yeah, not
that
good.
was bad.
Turnover fucking city, man.
I thought they were going to come back and get it, but Michigan's still doing well, so I'm all right.
Oh, I forgot about that whole thing. That's because of a boy, too, isn't it? It is.
I'm a Michigan fan.
Because of a boy.
No, I went to the big house a couple times.
That's because of a boy.
And
I know him.
No, the big house sold me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
that big house.
The big house sold me. Yes, a boy took me to the big house,
Right.
but the big house
That same
sold
boy with the boxers? Or were those always
Yes.
your boxers?
Well, I don't know how the hell worked out. I was drunk.
You were so much fun. That whole house was fun.
Oh, parties for days.
I mean, it was a fucking bin.
But the girls in and out of there.
I know. And the ugliest guys. I don't understand. They were, the ugliest guys.
Yeah, I would have like all of my,
I hope they listen to this because they piss me off.
all of the girls. I would bring all the girls over and like girls for days.
Is this college? College-ish? College age?
It's between high school and...
Yeah.
There's a between high school and college?
I don't know what we would call
You mean
that.
summer?
We were supposed to be going to college is
Okay.
probably what it was.
Okay.
I mean, it was a fucking co-ed frat house.
100%.
In Belleville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right by Fridays.
We're glorifying the disease.
We are. It's not cute.
Sorry. Guys, thanks so much. I know it's past your bedtimes for coming on here. It is, isn't it?
Yeah, I go to bed early.
Good for you.
God,
I shut it down.
so much in common with Ashley.
I'm like, what are we going to do? She's like, oh, it's 8:00. I'm going to go close my eyes. I'm like, okay.
You don't even get a dateline.
No.
Andy.
Corey got me back on Walking Dead, so that's like my way how I de-escalate.
That's a horrible way to de-escalate.
Right.
That,
Although, I mean,
It's
dateline.
survival. Or
that makes me
Love me
very...
some fun.
Bachelor finales tonight. I think it's
You-
the finale.
What?
Ashley got me the Bachelor. It's Fantasy Suites.
Bold and Beautiful.
Young and the Restless. Dawson.
Okay, now it's really past my bed.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for coming back.
Yes.
And we'll get you guys a I really want to get you plugged into the guest speaking thing.
So I got a divorce.
Okay.
I shared.
Sorry, I put you on the spot, but I'm glad there's a
No, it's
reason
good.
for it.
It's good. No, it's good. Amazing man. We still have. We're civil. You know, there's no. I don't think there's any hard feelings. There's no hard feelings on my part. But I got to the point where I was just tired of fighting alcohol. I felt, and you know, I had to watch myself because I felt like there was a little like self-pity. I always want to make sure like that self-pity part of me isn't slipping in. So here's the stupid program again, right? Can I just be sad? You know, that I have to get a divorce. Can I not be like, now, are you feeling self-pity?
Right. Like,
Are you not, you know, it's like I'm constantly checking myself.
fucking grace
It's
for yourself.
exhausting, but that helps me practice the principles, right? So I fought alcohol for many years and I arrested it. God has, by the grace of God, I've been able to stay sober for, it'll be 7 years in April.
Fuck, that's what day?
The 6th.
But it's like,
4/6, yeah. So,
gotta get you a cookie cake.
Yeah.
Sorry, she already, no, it's ordered.
I'll get something better than a cookie.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck's wrong with me? Sorry.
But, so I was just, tired of fighting it. And, you know, I shared at my previous podcast, I got sober. My husband still very much drank. We had alcohol in our house and I was able to be okay with that. That is not something that I suggest to anyone. I always have to be careful when I tell my story.
I do that too.
Because it's like, yeah, I can be around booze and I can have it in my house and I'm alone in my house. You know, I have a bar, a kegerator. We had the whole 9, you know.
I know you're.
Yeah.
My friends came over and I fell in my friend's lap and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I had done that same thing in that same friend's lap and in the same room in my house, you know, a year and a half prior. And here I am again. I'm like, I'm doing this again. Like I need help. And so they went to Target and got a bunch of stuff and I went and told my parents and they scooped me up and I felt like for me to truly give this what it needed to be, I needed to go as far away as possible. And I needed to not have people come visit me as an option. Like I had to, this was going to be it. Right. And I was terrified it wasn't going to work, but I was also like terrified it was. And I was like, at least if I don't know anybody, that'll make it better.
That's a good point. I like how you said that. I mean, it is scary for the thought of getting, like, what are you going to do with yourself?
Right.
Sober.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, start feeling your shit.
Right. All of it.
Right. Like,
and I have all these like things I do now, and I didn't do them when I was drinking. I don't know what I did.
Like, how did I get everything done? Did I get done today? Like, I look back on my
especially. I mean, you get more done than anybody.
I look back on my day. I'm like, how did I do this? Sloshed.
You didn't, right? Or did you?
I don't know.
Maybe you did, and you just don't remember.
I stopped doing everything. Showered.
I didn't.
Maybe not. A couple days.
Yeah.
I watched. I started losing like cable and stuff because I wasn't paying the bill.
Yeah.
So I would just watch Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful, and I still watch it today. My story. Fuck right. So I was having lunch today at O.B. Clark's, and of all the sporting TVs, they had fucking Bold and Beautiful on, and I'm like 3 days behind. I'm like, I got to switch chairs. I can't. Brooks kissing Ridge again. I can't fucking handle it. Spoiler alert.
Can't believe that.
Nobody's spoiled. Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said nobody's spoiled. It's all right.
My grandma would be pissed. She'd have her tapes. Bree, when did you start drinking?
Again, was late to the game. My freshman year, I went away to college. I was super homesick, was not ready.
Where'd you go?
I went to Kansas.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So super homesick, came home all the time. Didn't really drink because I didn't care to. Sophomore year, I went to SLU, joined a sorority, like kind of found that when I drank, I liked myself more. That like insecureness that I felt and that like not like my peers, I didn't feel as unlike them. Again, but I drank to excess. Like they're, you know, my best friend who I lived with after college, you know, there were times that I ruined her night. You know, I ruined a lot of things because I had no shut off switch. I never did.
Sure.
But
that glass of wine didn't just sit there on the table.
No, it did not.
Still, that's crazy that people can do that.
I know. But I started drinking sophomore year of college and then stayed in St. Louis, which kind of was a blessing and a curse, but everyone was like moving towards the next stage of life, you know, settling down with the person they were with, talking marriage, you know, maybe moving cities to where the job was. And I didn't want that. I felt like I had finally arrived to where I was socially okay. And I didn't want to be doing those things. I hated myself, let alone love somebody else, you know? So if I could sabotage myself and buy myself some time and, you know, I was good with that. My parents, they supported me through grad school. I went back and got my teaching degree. So I didn't start the teaching game until I was like 25. So I kind of bought myself a year or two. My sister was 2 years younger. So I loved going to U of I. And then she went up to Chicago to law school. So I kind of got to live vicariously through that. And I was,
you got tight.
Yeah. She's the salt of the earth.
How did she know? Was this a surprise to her?
No, it was not. She, that was one amends that I was like, how do I apologize for a lifetime of how I treated her? Because then when I was little, I was so mean to her because life came easy to her. You know, life just seemed, and I don't know if it was because I was there, so I kind of sheltered her or made things easier, but I just always felt like she didn't struggle the way that I did. And so I wasn't nice to her. And then as we grew up, we became really good friends. But again, she was impacted by my drinking. I ruined many of her nights. You know, I was a jerk to her. She was always, you know, she was always worried, and we'd have sober conversations. And, you know, she's like, I love you so much. I don't want anything to happen to you. She had her first daughter. And I remember I went to go visit in the hospital, and I had this huge bruise on my arm from falling, and it's one of the pictures. I'm holding my niece, and that bruise is on my arm, and I'm just like swollen, and I don't look like myself, and I keep that in my kitchen because as a reminder, because I don't even recognize that person, but I know that, you know, that person's always there waiting. You know, it's on me to keep doing what I'm doing. The last time Megan spoke, we were at it was a Thursday night meeting, and it was a bunch of people that we all knew, and she walked in, she's like, what am I going to talk about tonight? I know all these people.
I thought it was going to be a young person's meeting. And so it was going to be like a bunch of people new in sobriety. And I love that. Like, I love speaking up here. Like, I get...
Do you speak up here?
Oh, yeah, I spoke up here.
Nice.
I get hyped. Like, when they ask me to speak up here, I get hyped because I'm like, yes, let's go. Like, let me get you, you know, like, that's the stuff that gets me excited.
What are you doing? I guess Friday night, I think they probably know.
No, I think it's on Mondays.
Monday's day.
Yeah.
Whatever program it's called.
I just got a text from our alumni director. I set him up with the guy speaking tonight.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I get like pumped. But so I went into this young people's meeting, and it was all people who had like 20 plus years of sobriety. I'm like,
full of piss and vinegar.
But it was, I've heard you speak a lot. It was the best speaker meeting that you've ever had. I mean, you came from a whole different angle, and like you had me like crying at one point. I'm like, why is this bitch making me cry? Like, it was so, but again, that's your higher power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you take time to pray and help me say what needs to be said tonight.
Like,
and you
what needs to be heard.
completely delivered and spoke to me in a different way. You didn't even know what I was struggling with at that moment. And that the fact that it comes out in the way that it did in that meeting, and I wasn't the only one who had said that. Like, it was great. It just powerful stuff.
It's so intertwined with, for me personally, with this Jesus shit and higher power stuff, and it's all about routine and practice. And I've heard it said at church, like, you go to church, and what if you just don't feel like going that Sunday, and the person that really fucking needs that mountaintop moment comes into an empty sanctuary,
right?
Because everybody's, so it's the exact same thing that you're saying.
Exact same thing.
And and then practicing, so going habitually is so part of it. And then, like, who are we to say how fucking God's going to use our shit?
Right.
And to hear that when you've heard her talk 100,000 times and get moved. How long do you speak it? Like, when you speak it at AA or share, is it a testimony or?
Well, I think it's your experience, strength, and hope. So you kind of tell about what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now.
Right.
So you can get into as much as the drunk stuff as you want. This past time I spoke at Cathedral for Alcothon,
Belleville Cathedral?
Yeah.
Like the McCormick Center?
Yeah.
We used to
No,
get
it's
fucked at the
not-
McCormick Center.
Right.
Remember?
Yes, but why
don't
did we party there? What was that?
We knew somebody that had the keys.
That's
and we just would get
right.
fucking, and I'm not going to name drop, but we did like
I remember
just have
that.
high school parties in this Catholic gym.
It's like right across from the cafe, but we have events. Cathedral lets us, or Notre Dame Academy, whatever the heck you want to call it, they let us rent their cafeteria. So we just had corned beef and cabbage there last, and the Well Hungarians played.
Joey Minor?
Joey
At a sober
Minor.
corned beef and cabbage
Joey Minor's gotten into the weightlifting.
for free. But anyway, I usually speak.
I love corned beef.
Yeah, but you were saying you spoke at Alcathon, and that was like the best you've ever spoken.
Right.
It was like, Bree was like, I'm going to let you know what's on my mind, and just dump.
So it's really
That's
wherever
baller.
you're at. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
People were like amazed. They're like, yes, that was awesome. It was pretty
Did you
cool.
record it?
No. I wish you would have recorded it because I don't remember anything I said.
Yeah, I hear you.
I want to
I'll
taste
invite
this.
you next time.
All right.
We'll be at. Well, you're asked to speak way more than I am.
We want you to speak at IRC now, don't we? Will you?
Surprised you haven't been asked to speak here yet. I love speaking to people in
Well, the last time I think we really saw, I probably have seen you, but you guys came to open house.
oh,
And that's when I was like, oh, this is a good tandem here, these two. Watch the fuck out,
yeah,
but
it's dangerous for sure.
I don't know who organizes our speakers for Mondays.
Justin, it's got to
No.
be. It's
No,
not?
it's
No,
a
it's-
guy from
it's-
the treatment center. It's a guy from District 14.
Yeah, we don't pick Monday nights. We do Friday.
Yeah, because a lot of our friends have come.
Mondays.
Yeah, on Mondays and spoke. But I know I suffer from depression as well. You know, like that's something that anxiety and depression. The anxiety has gotten a lot better. I don't pour vodka on it anymore, but I've been diagnosed with depression.
Have
I
you?
know that
Thanks for sharing.
I know that I have that, and that's again not my fault. It is my responsibility. I've found like physical exercise helps me with that, but there are times that I hit a low and I write it out.
Does it last? How long does it last?
Until I bring Texas Roadhouse rolls and drop them on her.
Is that the cinnamon butter?
Oh God,
Check your mailbox.
You are such a good friend.
she's the best. She truly is.
I have, my wife has and suffers from it, and I have had like bouts of like where a couple hours has sucked, but I'm like, if it's anything like this for a prolonged period of time, it like really like humbled me. Like that's
Mhm.
how you guys are warriors, man.
And Jeff, you've commented on this
Yeah.
before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got basically a
Syphilis, right?
low grade bipolar
What's it called?
cyclothymia,
Sorry,
Yes. I
like
knew
a
the
cycle.
word.
I'll stop. That is, yeah. Jeff, you know, has always been very open about his mental health. You know, I have generalized anxiety, but the depression stuff, talk about a disease, and it makes us want to pour a depressant on our depression. I
And
mean,
that's what everybody thinks. Like, I have anxiety, so I drink or I smoke pot. I'm depressed, so I drink or smoke pot. And it's like you're putting a depressant
Right.
on it.
Mm.
And I can't believe how much better my anxiety got when I quit drinking.
Right.
Which made no sense to me. I
Yeah.
thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be an anxious ball of mess. Like,
Yeah.
and it really did get better.
that, and before we got on, we were talking about some people we know that to cure their hangover, they start with a bunch of Xanax,
Yeah.
and then they start drinking. And what a fucking cycle of shit that is.
Mm-hmm.
What
Um,
a deadly, literally deadly combination too.
Right.
Yeah. So does your depression go? Is it, we're talking days?
Yeah.
Weeks?
Days. I have a therapist that I meet with regularly, and I have a counselor that I kind of touch base with from treatment, and then I have like a spiritual type. So I cover all my bases,
Yeah.
and I'm very honest with them. Like, hey, this is where I'm at today. Like, you know, but sometimes it is as simple as going to our home group and sitting next to Megan and Liz and being like, okay, I'm good. Like,
And then I say, go home and do your laundry and shut up.
Do something like that, but those are
Yeah.
It's the whole, like we've said it. I've heard Eric say it here. You know, get up and make your bed. Start there and here, and it just starts. You start building small victories against what called the fucking enemy. And if there's not if depression's not an enemy, I don't know what the fuck it is.
Right.
But that's the only way I know to fight back the tinge that I get.
Right.
I mean, because even getting out of bed is a fucking monumental task, I bet, when it's really at its worst. But I appreciate you sharing that, because it's all wrapped up in this shit. And there's similar,
But again, you have to share that with people so they
Right.
know where you're at. You know, that's where it comes back to me. You know, like I gotta talk about it.
Like, that sounds like stinking thinking. You need to get out of that. And she's like, nah.
Have you gone to a psychiatrist?
I have not.
Oh,
No,
I got a good one if you need it.
Okay. Talk after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drug deals happening.
Yeah.
Pill pusher? Right.
You should see my pill thing.
It's like his fucking grandma.
The rattler.
It's the calendar. It seems like, kind of going back to that hierarchy of grief, like people don't realize how fucking brutal going through a divorce
No
is.
one warned me.
See, that's why I hear that.
And it is the most gutting thing in the world. It's literally grieving someone that's still alive.
Right. I've heard that
It is. I do not wish it on my worst enemy. And when people like say it now, like, I think I want to get a divorce, like before I'd be like, oh, but now I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like, please think this through. Like, this is not as easy as everyone makes it look. No one warned me. Your whole life, every holiday for that first year was awful.
Oh, fuck, man.
You know, like, I'm very blessed. I still work for Jacob. And so I get to see the girls. You know, they come into the office and I get to see them. But the family that I've had and everything that I've known is gone. And
there's somebody I love is going through this right now.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that you're saying that, because that's what I hear.
It's gutting.
And it's like, it's a acute trauma to try to fix something. Like I don't know how to, I haven't been through it. Ash has, and then she's led divorce groups before I even knew her, and our church has them because they're so, and then you've had some of the old fucking asshole churches out there that act like you can't get divorced and shame the fuck out of you for it.
Oh, you can pay $1,200 and get it.
You're right. That's much fucking bullshit. And we started.
Yeah, but no, it is horrible. And that's why I always tell people, like, make sure you've exhausted all your options. And you know, I honestly feel, and, you know, my girls and people, like, I did everything I could. I couldn't save us.
Sure.
I couldn't save us. And that's what it came down to. I was trying to. And
you were there.
Oh, yeah. This. Yeah. She was there, unfortunately.
She calls me her golden retriever.
Yeah. Because she's like my emotional support dog. You know, it's like, okay, Bree's here.
That's a compliment.
I know.
She is. Like, and that was like a pretty dog. Like a golden retriever.
Yeah, the girl that grew up with you in Ravenwood that I had the house for, and she, by the way, she was my girlfriend in grade school. She had a golden retriever. Remember?
I do. Yes.
Yeah,
she was so pretty. Not the golden retriever.
Oh, she was so
golden
pretty.
retriever put out.
No, but you know, it took me like almost a year, and I did a lot of self-reflecting, and
they are beautiful dogs, Bree.
You see it now, don't you?
I do.
She didn't hate it. No.
Let me tell you something. I mean, what a blessing I'm sure you were to her, going through that. And not just any friend, a friend that's, if you know from being a fucking alcoholic. I mean, that's huge. I don't know how you go through it, but I mean, it's like you think we heard a guy we have a little group on Tuesday nights, Jacob and I, and, you know, his wife should have been killed in a car accident. And he femurs and stomach and spine, and he like got the call and they didn't tell him shit, and then he was telling the story, and then he nursed her back to health for 4 months, and you're like, oh, I couldn't fucking go through that. And he's like, I didn't think I could either until
you have to. And
he had a community with him, and I was just talking about it yesterday, that's why it's fresh in my mind, but I want a golden retriever for when I go through hard shit.
Me?
You'd be my golden retriever.
Of course. Anytime, Chris.
There you go. But yeah, life is good. I'm good now. We're good.
Really happy for you.
Thanks.
Praying for you and my boy.
Yeah.
And I hope things are going well.
Yeah, I just want everyone to be well. That's my ultimate goal. You know, I don't
see, like, so you're not a narcissist. That's an incredibly selfless, empathetic want.
Right, but that would feel so good, wouldn't it?
Sure.
You know, just for people to be just well. Like, I know that not everyone can be rich or have everything they want, but if you can just be well, I'm very sad. I'm like rationally happy. Like, you know, that's all I want.
It gives you joy.
Yeah, for people just to be well, you know, so.
Well, thanks. I mean, I'm glad. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I
good.
want to hear the real shit.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing about your depression. I appreciate you sharing about your divorce. People need to hear that shit because that stuff fucking happens.
You don't have to drink or drug.
Right.
And going to meetings and hearing people share their experience on moms dying, kids dying, dogs dying, getting a divorce, and not having to pick up a drink, that's where I got my strength. That, you know, and God, obviously, but that's where you get it, is those listening to people share their experience. Yeah. I did this and I didn't have to drink. Okay. So then I can go to that person and say, you went through this. How'd you do it?
After that, we sat down with Christina Preston. Christina leads Celebrate Recovery at her church, and she's also someone who's lived through addiction and trauma herself. And now she spends her life helping other people find their way out of it. Take a listen.
And we got a knock on the door, and this guy walked in that I had never seen a day in my life. Also, the dealer we were dealing with, like, I don't know why we did, but we gave him like a key to my house. Like, there was no safety there at all. And so this other guy walks in and he tells me to pack a bag. And I packed a bag and got in his car. And
Are you fucking terrified right now?
Yeah. Yeah. But I also know that survival mode is very real. And I've also always been the kind of person that can compartmentalize my life. And so I knew in that moment, like, I have to survive. I have to survive. That's the only option here. There is no other option. So he takes me from my home and I get in his car, and I'll never forget this. Like, he puts a, pistol on the center console, and he was like, just do me a favor and don't cause a scene. And so now I'm supposed to trust this random man that I've no idea who he is. And he takes me to this hotel, and there's another girl there. I'll never forget. She was like the nicest, sweetest, like 19-year-old girl. And it was his girlfriend, but I realized very quickly that she was a working girl. Mm-hmm. And so after like a couple of days, there's a lot of phone calls that were being made. Also at this time, like, my parents didn't know where I was. My husband at the time didn't know where I was.
So he didn't know where you were going?
No, they took my phones. They took my debit cards. They took my laptops. They took my IDs. Nobody knew where I was at all.
Jeez.
So this is what trafficking looks like.
Yes. Yep.
And why it happens right in front of people.
And people don't understand that, right? They think that it's, you're grabbing a girl off the street, going to her car. That's not at all. It can look like that for some people, but it looks like this, right?
They think it's an immigrant that they were trying to save and bring in over to the country, and then next thing you know, they're enslaved. Like that. There's so many misconceptions of this shit.
I mean, this stuff happens like in St. Louis County and Jefferson County and St. Clair County. Like, this stuff happens down the street to good families, and people don't understand that. And part of what I think people don't understand too is that there probably were chances in those first few couple of days when I learned, right, I was basically kidnapped from my home. Where
Not basically,
you
were.
That's what it was. No, that's fair. That's
fucked
fair.
up.
So over the course of some time, I finally got to the point where he let me have access to a cell phone. And this is like the crazy part. This is what addiction will do to you. My first call was not 911, right? And in the hotel, he also unplugged all of the phones in the hotel rooms. So, like, I didn't have access to any phone to call anybody because they were all destroyed. Who knows where he took them. My first call wasn't to 911. It was a text to my ex-husband. And thankfully, he had the wherewithal, even also struggling with addiction, to call 911. But I was texting him, and then the guy that had me there came back in the room, and he grabbed the phone from me. And that was that I will say, amongst that entire time, was the most scared I've ever been in my life. Because he grabbed the phone, and he can see the text thread with me giving my address and where we're at. And then this guy knows now, not only does the outside world know, but the police are on their way. And he's got 2 hotel rooms full of paraphernalia and supply and all of this. And so I remember sitting on the bed and he's looking through the phone and I'm just like, well, this might be how I go. And luckily he just looked at me. Now, mind you, I convinced this man that I wanted to be there and I was like in love with him, right?
Yeah.
That's what kept me safe. And he just looked at me like he was so disappointed and handed me back the phone and took all of his stuff and left. And as he was leaving, the cops passed him and they got there to me and they were like, you know, do you know anything about the man that had you? Well, luckily I had the wherewithal to go through all of his belongings when he wasn't in the room. So I knew his government name and his address and stuff. And I was like, yes, it's this guy, this and this and this. And they said, you know, is he driving some black Impala with Georgia plates? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, we just passed him on the way out. And they couldn't find him after that.
Fuck.
Mm-hmm. But I will say this, right? A couple of things is I know that we all want earthly justice, right? Yeah. We do. And I didn't get that in the form that I would have liked to, in the form that my parents would have liked to have happen. But I knew when I got out and I had to file police reports and stuff, like they said, well, we can go find these guys, but it's your word against theirs, basically. And these guys are known street thugs and they're part of gangs and they're part of this gang and this gang. And I knew that, like, that's not, I just wanted to get safe, right? Yeah. So I had already been clean for a while. And I remember I was praying one night and I was like journaling my prayer. And I remember vividly, it was, God, like, I know that what I've gone through is not for nothing. And I know, you know, Romans 8:28 says you'll work together, you know, all things for the good, right? I was like, so I don't know where I'm supposed to find these women, but I'm hoping that you're going to show me where to find these women, because I know what I've been through is not for nothing. So those who are hopeless and helpless and addicted and trafficked and all of this. And I was like, God, I have no idea where these women are. The church I'm involved in, I've grown up with these people, like they're all older. I'd never heard of Celebrate Recovery before. So I didn't even know, I didn't even know that existed. Right. Or I think I'd heard it in passing, but I don't think I really understood like what it was. And then, yeah, it was literally like a year later, or 6 months later, I meet my husband now and we started dating. He's going to this church. I go and visit right after like COVID started to lift.
Okay.
And then someone was talking about Celebrate Recovery. And I was like, and so I went to my first meeting and I was like, these are my people. Awesome. And I tell all the girls, I go, girls, like I've literally been praying for you since 2018. I didn't know who you were. I didn't know your names, but I've literally been praying for all of these women since day one. And I still do. And anybody that I send here to IRC, anybody that, you know, we get into rehab, anybody that we invite to church or whatever, like these are the women that I've been praying for since day one. And I know
there's a lot more to come, Christina. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like you're young, but
oh, thank you.
There's going to be a lot, I mean, of people that have not come into your life yet that are going to hear this story. They're going to come to a CR meeting that you're in, and it's going to change the trajectory of their life. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's certainly not for nothing. I hate that you had to go through all of that. It's I can't imagine. It's hard to hear. I can imagine how hard it was to live. But you're like, I mean, just resolve and your faith and your love for other people is so fucking inspiring. And it's just nuts. I mean, it's like why when people ask me about my path, it was, listen, I went to treatment. I knew a pastor that started a church in St. Louis, and I watched him walk the walk with my family when we were losing a 13-month-old in the PICU, which is inexplicable pain, and he didn't leave the PICU. He doesn't drive a Rolls Royce. I kid around, he could have been a Buddhist fucking monk, and I would have gone to his temple, but he was a Christian pastor, and I grew up, you know, sinning and knowing that I had some things to answer for, but always been a Jesus guy. He said, I'll go to your place, and that's what got me through each one day at a time. And it's what I know. So like hearing this, it's just inspiring. And I I can't thank you enough. When I first heard your testimony, I was like, man, this is, and the little I knew about Celebrate was just from Ashton or codependency stuff. And, and there's going to be so many people that God puts in your path. And I can't wait to hear those stories because they're going to be incredible and miraculous. So you met your husband now. You weren't going to the same church. How did that work?
No. So
can we hear about him a little bit?
Yeah.
I want to hear about your family. I mean, this is like
the redemption that comes, the restoration that comes. This is the good stuff.
This is like the last
Tears
part
are
of the
over.
movie where the good music's coming.
Yeah,
on.
the happily ever after.
Next up is Kurt Garner. Kurt's a radio host here in St. Louis, part of the cast of The Morning After, and someone who's been open about recovery and the life he's built since getting sober. Here's a piece of that episode.
And, I know I was drinking 7 days a week. I don't know how to quantify just how much. I know I was going through, and this is when I was telling you before we hit record that I felt like a little bit of a fraud, like telling my story and filling out some of my stuff. Because if I remember correctly, I was maybe like drinking tequila was my drink of choice. I drank it on the rocks. And I felt like I would go through 2, maybe 3 bottles of tequila a week.
That's a lot of tequila.
Is it?
When you're drinking it on the rocks.
Okay, because then I'll hear other people telling their story and it's everybody's different, but I'm like, oh, maybe it wasn't. But it was a lot.
No,
of
it is.
tequila.
It's because you drink it every day. You're not. I mean, it's not ever getting out of your system. You know, you're addicted to it at this point, and that's a lot of tequila. I mean, and like I was saying earlier, when we start comparing the quantity, which is why when you said, Jacob, diagnosing someone with an SUD, they don't go by quantity of what you're drinking or using.
Yeah.
You know, if Jacob used 2 grams of heroin instead of 10 every day, he's still a heroin addict, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that apply?
I think it's close. Yeah, of course. You did good.
But it's still hitting the brain shit, you know, and making you.
It's more about the repetition. Like
Right.
7 days a week is 7 days a week.
Right.
And like you said, 2 or 3 bottles.
Yeah.
That's like at least a pint a day.
Yeah.
That's alcoholic levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
So,
And I mean, highly addicted. I mean, you're addicted.
You're drinking tequila every day.
and I'm still teaching at this point, so I'm shaking off the cobwebs in the morning
Right.
to go. I was teaching K through 4, and teaching Spanish. So Senor Tequila over here was up till midnight just housing tequila on the rocks, and then teaching 5-year-olds 7 hours later how to say their numbers and colors in Spanish. Like,
I mean, that's a sitcom.
kinda, yeah. Senor Tequila.
God. Maybe we could write this. I know some writers in Hollywood. This could be the next one
Yeah.
based off of KG.
But I remember what happened was I think it was actually my first date post-divorce. I go to a concert with this girl, and I think at the time I was just searching for somebody to give me some attention. It didn't matter who it was, because now I look back and I see this girl that we had a good first date. I thought it went well. I guess it didn't go as well as I thought, because then when I pursued a second one, I kind of got the thanks but no thanks thing. And I remember that morning when I finally got that message back that was like, there won't be a second date. What did I do?
Drank.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was a Sunday morning at like 10 a.m., 10:30. And I started drinking, and I had a couple, and I remember distinctly looking in my mirror in my bathroom and kind of seeing this drunk, nasty face that just hated what he saw in the mirror. Fat, had gotten so fat and out of shape, and just really just a piece of shit all around. And I thought, this is not the way that we handle any sort of like adversity or something that of a mild inconvenience that a girl you hung out with one night didn't want to hang out with you again.
And it caused you to start drinking at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Yeah.
And I poured it out,
That's pretty mindful.
and I went for a walk. I remember going for a walk in my neighborhood to just try to get some clarity. And the next morning, I started 75 hard.
I've heard of it. I haven't done it.
And
Believe it or not.
of it.
Yeah.
And, it can be a little culty. People that like CrossFitters, they're always talking about CrossFit. So I'm not trying to be Mr. 75
It's all right.
hard
It's
here.
all right.
But that program, no booze, no
Sure.
exceptions. Pick a diet. You can pick any diet you want. Carnivore, keto, whatever you want to do. But you got to stick to it. I got a story from a Mexico trip, and looking back on it, it could have ended way worse. But it's a fun story to tell now.
So older than 4 years?
Yes, this is going back probably 2012.
So alcohol's related.
Very much so. So my best friend at the time was getting married down there. We go down there, and there's people we know, people we don't know. And there's this guy on the trip that we don't know. Turns out it was a former Cardinals closer's son.
No shit.
And this dude is just a loose cannon this whole trip. He's wanting to leave the resort and go to cockfights.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like a lunatic.
Donkey shows.
Yes, precisely.
Tijuana.
And he came down with his girlfriend at the time, and on the last day, him and the girl break up and just have a knockdown, drag out breakup. So this guy says, "Fuck her, fuck this. We're going to the strip club. I'm paying." My girlfriend at the time, who I ended up marrying, said, "Yeah, she was fun when she was fun, but she's like, yeah, just go, have a good time." So
I'm not touching that one, Jake.
Right now, yeah.
we go to this Mexican strip club. We get in a cab, go to this strip club, and it's me, another semi-normal guy, and then the loose cannon. And we go to this Mexican strip club, and it's kind of up on, like, if you can picture like a building in New Orleans that's built on stilts.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to go up and weave your way up steps, and it's built up, or it sits up here. And we hang out at the strip club for the evening, and we're having Bud Lights, which I'm sure were about $20 a pop at this place. Buying them for the girls that are hanging out with us. I think I looked over at one point, and the lunatic was getting a handy from one of the Mexican dancers.
Nice.
So
What'd that cost?
well, at the end of the night, the manager comes up and he gives the guy the bill, and he says, "Here's la cuenta." And it was like, I think around $600. Could be worse, but it was
Sure.
it was a lot. I purposely hadn't taken my wallet or phone because this guy said he's paying. I'm not getting caught having to pay for this tab, so I go in there with nothing. So he gets this $600 bill, and he says, "I'm not fucking paying for this."
Beautiful.
So I look over at the other normal guy. I'm like, this is going to go south really quickly. So I go out, and I'm like, it's not like I can go out the front door.
Right.
So I go, there's like a back outdoor patio, like for storage and whatnot. And I decided in that moment that my way out was going to be to jump off the roof of this Mexican strip club.
Nice.
So I tell the other normal guy, I'm like, this is going to end poorly for us. If you can't find me in a couple minutes, it's every man for
Save yourself.
save yourself. So I'm in short shorts, like Sperry's, like boat shoes, and it's just pure darkness. And I know it's about 10, 15 feet, and I'm just like, that's my way out. And I jumped off the roof of this.
You were saying Mexican police station or Mexican hospital?
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
So I jump off, somehow landed and stayed in one piece. And then the day before, I had rented a moped.
Stop.
To drive into town to look for some supplies.
Sure. Understood.
So I'm like, I know the way back to the hotel. It's just a straight shot down this road. Well, what my brain didn't realize was that it's a lot faster on a motorized vehicle than it is my fat ass walking through the streets of Mexico at midnight. So I'm walking, and every time I see headlights coming, I lay down on the side of the road so that I don't get seen. And this happened a couple times, and I was walking for what felt like hours. And then finally, one time I lay down when there was lights coming, and I can tell that the lights stop.
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, fuck, I've been made. So I look up, and it's like a Mexican paddy wagon kind of vehicle.
Oh, shit.
And like a motorcycle cop. So I go to them, I walk over, and I start speaking Spanish to them, and they're like, "Oh, you were with the gringos that no paid the bill at the club."
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
I'm like, "No, that wasn't. I wasn't with them," which they had to have known. Like, you're 5'8", 250 pounds,
White boy.
in 5-inch inseam shorts.
Look, we resonate.
In November of 22, I had been sober for a little over a year, and I went on my first ever solo vacation. I went to Tulum, Mexico, and I was going by myself, which she was worried to death about that.
Sure, I can imagine.
And, you know, now at that point, I'm no longer drinking, so I don't want to go stay at a all-inclusive resort where they're just serving up pina coladas all day. So I rented an Airbnb like in the Pueblo, like in the town. And I like that kind of vacation where you're living a little bit more like a local.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
And for the first time in my life, I was on vacation, not seeing how drunk I could get,
Right.
how much tequila I could throw back. I went on a snorkeling excursion. I went cenote diving with just a clear mind. And I remember every second of it. And it like...
It's fucking experience right
yes,
there, man.
yeah.
For sure.
I can sit on my couch and see how much tequila I can drink.
Yeah.
So it was nice
You
to go
did
on-
that.
I did. Yeah, I've done both.
Right.
But yeah, I think that might be when my mom finally realized, like, oh, this isn't a problem for him anymore. He's gotten to a point where he's good for now. So I was worried that I would maybe not be as social when I stopped drinking.
That's always I think we hear that a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
But I actually I think I maybe got more social after I kicked the booze.
Our definitions of social change. Like you're not less of a social person because you don't want to be out from midnight to 3 a.m.
Right.
You like I can hang out at a bar. I just get fucking bored just sitting in the same spot and listening to somebody repeat themselves for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
but there was a learning experience of how do I go play golf with my buddies without, shooting the little fireball shooters. And
I hear that. That's one of the most common questions I get from people that would identify as similar to me, whether it's age, straight white male, our business stuff. How do I play golf if I stop drinking? And I'm like, I fucking like it more because I can grab my clubs and not have to worry about what the cart girl's going to have and what I got to stash in my my bag. If I got to have fireball shooters or whatever the fuck. But go and play and enjoy the experience of being outside and playing golf. It was like, but I remember having that. How am I going to do that?
And like concerts, like I started, I used to just drink tequila on my couch, and then all of a sudden I kind of felt like I wanted to start living more.
Right.
Next thing I know, I'm going to concerts sober, and I'm doing everything by myself, not because people didn't want to hang out with me because I wasn't drinking, but I just got to that point in life where a lot of my friends started starting families, and I can't call up my buddy with 2 kids and be like, hey, you want to go to a concert in an hour?
Yeah,
So-
right.
And
a pageant.
I realized that if I kept waiting for people to say yes, I was going to be waiting forever. So I just started. I've gone to concerts by myself. I've gone to Mexico by myself.
That's ballsy. I love that. I got to make fun of Ashley for a minute, but now I feel bad because she had been divorced. We met years after her divorce. She got divorced out in L.A. and then moved to St. Louis. But I remember kind of befriending her, and she was like, "Yeah, what'd you do last night?" She was like, "I went to a concert." I'm like, "Oh yeah, who did I go with?" Myself. She went to Tom Petty. She's like, she could go, and she said she had one margarita on the lawn and watched a Tom Petty concert by herself, and it was the best. She used to go to movies by herself.
Yep.
Because she very similar said the same thing you did after probably going through a divorce, feeling a lot of the similar shit that you felt. That she got to a point where I'm gonna go out and experience life. I chirped her a little bit about it, but it was kind of how I flirt, like,
Yeah.
If I'm not picking on you. I don't know.
Yeah, pulling the girl's hair. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So a 5-year-old, yeah.
But
that is kind of empowering. I mean, to especially to go to Mexico by yourself and take it all the fuck in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
yeah, and like this past Valentine's Day, like I said, single, had no Valentine.
Save some money.
Drove up to Chicago with no notice and went to Justin Timberlake. That's my fucking guy.
JT, baby.
So on a whim, drove up to Chicago by myself, got a hotel, and did a little Valentine's Day seeing my boy JT.
I love this shit, man. I love JT.
I do a ton of shit by myself, and I wish I had a buddy or you know, if I was dating somebody to go, but I don't mind being by myself. You learn a lot about yourself when you spend that much time alone with your own thoughts.
And if you choose to spend or really lock down with somebody again, you really know you can make that choice knowing what you're willing and not willing to sacrifice. And you know how it feels like at the bottom, and you are an example of, because so many people think there's no joy in life without the drug they're using that's masking the hard feelings. They think that if they stop drinking, they'll never be able to golf again, they'll never be able to barbecue again, and they'll be able to go to Mexico again. And that's fucking bullshit. And you're here living proof of it.
Yeah.
Not just because you say it, it's because you've done it.
Yeah.
You did it. You've gone to Mexico. You're going to, where did I ask you if you had something going on? You said, I'll be in Boston.
Yeah, I'm leaving for Boston on Wednesday, going to a Sox game up at Fenway.
All by your lonesome. Are you going somewhere? You got,
I'm meeting somebody there.
okay. All right. We'll have to have you back on.
Meeting somebody there.
Good to know. Okay. So you're going by yourself.
Yeah, I'm traveling alone.
Which is nice. What are you seeing if you want somebody to travel? You look.
No, I need to travel alone on this one.
Okay, got it. Good to know. But to the whole point is you have found probably the most joy in your life without alcohol in it.
Yeah, and it's no bullshit. Like, honestly, ages 35 to 39 have maybe been the happiest and most productive years of my life. And, you know, I don't want to shit on the time I was married, because there was good times. Sure. But just in terms of overall wellness, overall happiness, I'm happy with where I'm at with my career, which I never really was when I was in education. My relationship with my family and my close friends, I have like an extremely small circle. But everybody in that circle, I could call at 2 a.m. and they'd be there for me, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. I'm as fulfilled at 39 as I ever was in the days where I was seeing how much Don Julio I could put in my system.
I was going to ask what your flavor of tequila.
Well, I'm a cheapskate, so it was never actually Don Julio. I think it was
just called it, you know.
I think it was. In fact, I have, and it's still on my. I got a little buffet thing in my dining room
for entertainment.
What's that?
For guests?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But the 2/3 empty bottle of Margaritaville tequila, shout out Jimmy Buffett, I keep it there.
Okay.
I keep it there as kind of just a reminder, because that's the bottle I poured from the last day that I ever had a drink.
On that Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And it sits there on that.
Good for you.
It sits there, and if I ever had a guest that wanted to have a drink, I'd probably say, well, let me drive you to Schnucks and I'll get you a new one. Because I kind of like that. I saw how much, because I think it was a full bottle that day.
No, keep that.
I want to keep it, because it's just a reminder of where I was. And
I don't recommend this for everybody, Jacob. But I share I have a bottle of VO. It was what kept me from drinking it was my dad's last bottle of VO. Seagram's VO was our Canadian house whiskey that we would have. It wasn't my last, but it was his. And that, even through where I would walk to the liquor store to get a refill of Rich and Rare Rock Gut fucking whiskey before I like broke into that. Mm-hmm. So I still have that. It's in our liquor cabinet. It's not to be served. I'll have that till the day I die. But that is symbolic. So yeah. I would, I can see you not pouring that.
But yeah, Margarita, it was never the good stuff. It was because I was going to go through it in a day or two. Sure. So
I will say that I do, I don't know if advocate's it's probably the wrong word. I do swear by tequila having the biggest delta from rot gut to top shelf sipper. Like no other liquor has like the shit that's so bad that you have to lick salt off a titty or shoot, off a man, you do it off of anybody if it was bad enough tequila versus what you could sip, like a Don Julio.
It's always a Cabo Wabo guy.
Well, you know what I mean? That was even, you could sip it. You didn't need to, like when you took a shot, you thought you were just drinking gasoline. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of that good stuff, you can take it without even
There's a big, I think the shittiest bourbon and the best bourbon, the bourbon snobs will argue, but the shittiest bourbon's not going to make you instantly fucking puke if you don't suck on fruit. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what else I learned after...
Does anybody agree with me, or am I just talking shit?
No, I agree.
Thanks.
Like Four Roses.
Is that what it's called? The
There's
bourbon?
a Four Roses bourbon.
Yeah, that's not that expensive, but it's still good. Sorry, I'm not an alcoholic.
Four Roses is going to sponsor the podcast.
But another thing I learned throughout this is, I would go to a Mexican restaurant, whether it was by myself or with my ex, and we would sit there and pound margaritas and eat, and we'd get the bill, and it's $60, $70 or whatever. Not drinking alcohol, surprisingly way cheaper.
Way cheaper.
Turns out.
You can go to a Mexican restaurant and leave for about $12, $15.
Yeah, and if you go where the chips and salsa are free.
Then we talked to Sean Weiss. Most people know Sean as Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks. He's also a comedian and someone who's been very open about addiction, recovery, and rebuilding his life after things fell apart in a very public way. Here's some of that conversation.
One guy thought I was a famous actor from Disney movies.
What an idiot. He's crazy. What'd you tell? Man, how much? Let me get some of that.
Right?
Did you lose quite a bit of your resources to the disease? End up unhoused? Anything like? Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I want to say I had. It's hard to tell. I want to say I had maybe $20,000 that I spent within maybe 3 months.
Yeah, that's manic.
Yeah. And then when that ran out, that's when, you don't really have a drug problem when you have money, because when you have money, you're just getting high and having fun.
Sure.
But when you're on a drug that you cannot afford, now you have a drug problem.
That's a good point.
So I ended up with that problem, and I just, my whole life I'd kind of been playing roles, even as an actor. Every time you go in on an audition, it's just as real for you as like being in a movie. So my whole life I was like playing different parts, and in kind of a weird way, I got out there on the street and I was playing that part of like a street hustler. And at first I was really enjoying it. I was hanging out with gangbangers, and I was like in their crew, and they would like count on me to go steal them stuff. So at first it was all kind of fun,
The wheels fall off though, don't they?
Yeah, 100%. So I guess I spent about 20,000, and then I just started doing what all the other guys were doing, and a few guys like really taught me how to be a good shoplifter. Yeah. And I would even pride myself on how good I was. That's how sick, that's how sick it was.
Mm. So when you were using and you got arrested, was it and maybe I read this, was it for shoplifting or was it for possession?
Yeah, I've gotten arrested maybe a dozen times. So yeah, it was usually either shoplifting or possession, one of those two. Or both, shoplifting and possession. At least if you're going to go rob a bank, at least don't have a bag of dope on you,
They really kick your ass then, yeah.
And I never, this one time I got caught at a Gap, the clothing store.
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed in myself. They had me on camera, and you can actually see me doing it. And that was just so disappointing because, I didn't even think to wear a disguise. I might as well just have had my Ducks jersey on. I didn't even try. And, a lot of times it was almost like I was playing for the camera. I think deep down inside, I was hoping I would get like some new demo reel footage from those security cameras.
Yeah, was it like
as planned?
Was it that Ashley Judd? Remember back in the day, she got busted for stealing because she was researching for a role.
That's right. Was that Ashley Judd or Winona Ryder?
That was Winona.
What was it? Oh, is it Winona Ryder? I get the Winona's confused. See what I did there?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Ashley's she's
Winona Ryder.
She's hot. And I mean, I can imagine that you've helped in quite a, just with your namesake and platform, are able to help a ton of people. I'm sure you've.
I get so many messages from people that just tell me it was helpful to them just seeing somebody get better, just seeing somebody go from total heroin addict, homeless person to somebody that was functioning okay. And I think it's important for people to know that we do recover.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember when we started this podcast, Chris and I started it together in 2020, and then we took a, 4 or 5 year break.
Yeah.
And started again now.
Something like that.
But when we started it, it was like right around the time that the news, like you were all over the news. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I texted him. I'm like, this could be an amazing story someday for some, people are going to look at this when he recovers.
Yeah, we started in January of 20, so it was pretty new to your journey.
Yeah. Right.
And there is no better. I'd like to see the dopamine scale that you were talking about earlier on put it on my brain when you see somebody transform their life and with such a gift, but when somebody reaches out to you and the way it makes you feel to hear that and see somebody actually take back their life and do recovery, sustainable recovery, it's a better feeling than any fucking line of blow I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, the work you're doing over there is not easy, but like you say, it can be incredibly rewarding. You're helping somebody get their life back, and especially for family members, they lose their relatives. That's all they want is like their brother back or their sister back or their mom or dad. So
it infects that family. It's a disease of a family. That's another thing. Just to share a little bit about what we do is that when people ask what sets us apart here at IRC is our family program that Jacob and our clinical director of the family program, Kevin Bunn, have come up with. So, I mean, immediately after detox, they start working with families separately and then together with the client, right, Jacob?
Right,
and then you're in the treatment center to just educate. I mean, and start trying to get the family to realize that, just because Jacob is getting clean and sober, like all the problems of your family aren't going to just go away. And I think it's some of the most important work that we do within the first 30 days. And it carries on into outpatient. So it is really
100%.
important.
There has to be attention paid to what happens after the 30 days, right?
Right.
Because, if you go back to your same life with the same people, it's like, how do you expect to be able to forge a new life ahead?
I will say that, I probably bring it up every episode, but in 2019, when the Blues we popped our cherry and won the Stanley Cup, I was there in Game 7 in Boston. And
you were?
I was,
that's
my
fantastic.
brother. And I was probably the only, I would have never been there had I not gotten sober. And I remember the whole fucking thing. Every hair on my Italian hairy ass standing up and thinking of my old man and my uncle, all the people that have come and gone that would have, just tears. It was
They were
it was
there
something
with
to say.
you. They were there with you. Yeah.
You know it. And so 2019, anytime somebody says 2019, I can't help but bring it up. But
that's what you associate it with. Well, that's great. That's good that you have that memory to associate that with. It's not so good for me because my sober date, I'll never forget it because it was the day after Kobe Bryant's helicopter crash.
Oh shit!
Oh wow!
And so that was a traumatic event for me. Like I loved that guy, as much as you can love an athlete.
Sure.
And that was like heartbreaking for me. I was locked up and I'm sitting here crying over Kobe Bryant.
Well, I
Bro, you're like, dude, you just shit yourself. You need to be crying over that.
Yeah. That was a horrible deal. His daughter was in that air.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You're going to kill it as a stand-up comic, but do you go around and do talks on recovery? I mean, there's a fucking market out there for that if you're not doing it.
Listen, I put it out there on Facebook. I've made advertisements. I have offered to go speak at these places. They don't want me, bro.
What's that all about?
I've had because we just said they're not interested in getting people better.
Bingo.
We already said it. They're bringing in the people that they have their business connections with and people they have relationships with, rock to recovery and shit like that, I know one company, and God bless these people, right? I know one company, they make shit tons of money. What they do is they bring horses to the treatment center.
Equine
Because the
therapy,
fucking
baby.
horse- yeah, the horse is going to help with your fucking, there are all kinds of ways and programs to make money out here. But as far as having me come and talk to the people, I had one place take me up on my offer. One place. And as soon as I got there, I knew, I was like, all right, this is a legit place where they're scholarshiping a lot of people. It's not just about, body counts. And, those places are incredibly easy to recognize because they're so rare.
Well, we will stand by our mission here, and we'd love to have you out. We'll talk offline about that.
Well, I already know you guys are on the up because you had me on. So I already know that you're looking for ways to benefit your clients.
And I'll force the
you're not
clients to
just-
watch this. So,
Well, and Sean, and I had heard your kind of your stance on the quote unquote, I mean, not quote unquote, fucking industry. And I was excited to chat with you about it because there's a lot of concurrence in the room. We agree.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why really what led us, Eric will always say that, this was his dream born out of a temper tantrum because he was at a treatment center that started to fucking get it wrong. And his head couldn't hit the pillow at night. And we met at my cousin's steak restaurant and had a steak and talked about it. And here we are. So
that's fantastic.
Right.
I'm
That's
so
the reason we
glad that
exist,
there
'cause of
are.
that.
It's reassuring to know there are good people and there are people that are, working on stuff. What was I just going to say?
We always say,
the place that I went to, I'm sorry.
You're right.
Interrupt you.
No,
talking a
it's
lot.
me. It's your show.
The place that I went to, they couldn't even guide the patients to use the 12 steps because of the God aspect of the program. And so because the 12 steps is based on God, they
Sure.
weren't allowed to teach it to the kids. How are you going to have a recovery center? You're not even teaching the 12 steps.
I hate to
They're
laugh because
afraid.
it's fucking tragic, man.
Right.
I mean, it's absolutely criminal.
Yeah.
Because, if you go back to your same life with the same people, it's like, how do you expect to be able to forge a new life ahead? Fortunately for me, I didn't have to deal with that because I had blown my life up so bad, right? I didn't have any friends. The only friends I had were on the street, and the only place I had was the street. So I didn't really have to do the work to recreate a life, I had destroyed mine. So I literally was starting from zero. And to be honest, I think it helped because, it's not that I cut everybody off, but there's almost nobody that I associate with that I used to know before I got clean.
Really? Is how you had mentioned your father having some health issues. Is he okay? Still with us?
No, my dad passed away in 2016 or 14. But anyway, that's how all this started.
Sure.
In a span of 2 months, my dad died, my fiance left me, and a major project that I was working on fell through. So the confluence of those three huge issues, I broke. I couldn't take it anymore, and I gave up. I literally gave up on life. And, I was telling my girlfriend, something really scary. When I was on the street, I consciously used a needle from somebody that was HIV positive.
Shit.
Wow.
I mean,
Can you imagine that? And
it hurts to even try to feel that level of pain that you were feeling.
Dude, and just to feel better. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I didn't use needles, so it wasn't something I was used to. And somebody did it for me. And I mean, if you imagine that feeling of did I just give myself AIDS so I wouldn't be sick right now? You can't get any lower than that. A drug you can't lose any more of yourself than that. So, it's really by the grace of God that I'm sitting here talking to you.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, man. That's tough. And when you were saying earlier, as you were using it, there was depression, getting out of Hollywood, and in my head, I'm wondering, what are you self-medicating from. You know, a lot of us, most of us, all of us are self-medicating, that doing something to numb that pain and
Numbing. It's numb, dude.
And-
We want to get numb.
right.
And learning how to, you know, neutralize those feelings of depression and sadness, that's key, man. That should be on, you know, the forefront of treatment, is
Sure.
getting people to take control of their thoughts and emotion.
That's huge. Well, man, I appreciate it so much. I appreciate your story,
Thank
your work,
you.
your outreach. We'd love to have you out sometime.
I would love to come by and chat with you guys, and, you know, any way that you think I could be helpful, I'm 100% down to do that.
You come to town. Well, we will get you to a blues game though.
One of my personal favorite guests this year was Rafe Williams, and he's a comedian that joined us. Rafe's a stand-up comic and a cast member of The Riz Show here in St. Louis on 105.7 The Point. He uses humor to talk about trauma, addiction, and the stuff most people try to avoid. This is a moment from that one.
Everybody, I was just telling you guys that, you know, this is a 30-day inpatient treatment program, and I go, how many fucking cigarettes are getting smoked on the ground? I expect to see like a Cahokia Mounds level of cigarette butts, because I know that first 30, dudes, like that Matthew McConaughey meme where everybody's just like,
Sucking them down.
who am I? Been there, brother. Hang tough.
That's about accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, don't I know it?
Yeah.
We just have a revolving house account at the cigarette shop up the street in Wade Square.
I'd be so, you guys, you should be sending people on Kentucky runs. Like, there's no, you know, I lived in Southern Illinois when I grew up, and
really,
my grandma's favorite pastime was to go to Kentucky for them tax-free.
Oh yeah.
$2 a pack carton of Duralls.
Yeah.
Over to Paducah.
Peel
you gotta
the
go to
paint.
Paducah
Go to
if you live in,
Paducah, and you
Southern
get a couple
Illinois.
cartons of cigs, and that was a Saturday night for Grandma.
See, that's the
Meemaw
thing.
stop by the boat in Metropolis, gamble a little bit, get her $2 cigarettes, and then come peel the paint off the trailer.
I can picture the whole yellow ceiling tile, right?
People, people think that Belleville is like Southern Illinois. I'm like, no. You got to go to real Southern Illinois.
It's technically Metro East.
Yeah.
Right.
The real Southern Illinois, it's Northern Kentucky. They drew the line wrong. I tell people that often. Because when I was in the Army and stuff, people be like, "Oh, you're from Illinois, Chicago," and I'm like, "Nah, bruh. Nah, there's this whole vestigial tail hanging off the ass end of Chicago, and it gets more racist as you go down." And they drew the lines fucked up like that. They should have taken Kentucky and just put a big bump on the top, because that's where I grew up.
So I'll take that. I used to call being from Belleville, we're the Puerto Rico of Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, Belle Vegas is an interesting town. I have friends over here.
Are they clients here, or are they in St. Clair County Jail?
No, you know, one of my buddies who's sober now, you know.
He's from Belleville.
Yeah, he's
you're
from Belleville.
You're either sober or you're not.
Yeah, I watched him, you know, and one night walk into some apartment buildings to make a purchase of some substances.
Sure.
And gone for an hour and a half. Comes out, no shoes, no shirt. Go, Joe, what the hell happened? He goes, the guy I wanted to hit up wasn't home, so I saw some guys outside and was like, "You guys got any coke? I got a whole wad of money." And I go,
"Oh."
And he goes, "They robbed the fuck out of me." And I go, "Yeah, man. Yeah, they did, and you deserved it." And I've been sitting here burning gas in my truck, but hey, you know, that's what happens, kids, when you don't make good decisions with your life.
That's funny, man. Jacob was saying that he didn't you see him do a stand up?
Yeah, I think it was about 3 years ago, probably. It was at a recovery fundraiser.
Yeah.
Shindig thing.
Was it like the Prevent Ed stuff?
Yeah, that's what it was. Prevent Ed.
Yeah, I got another one of those coming up in September. Actually, I'm doing it this year again.
So it was really good. That'd be rolling.
Great. Well, shit. So, tell us about that. What's the program?
The Prevent Ed is a great. You know, when I talk on the radio and I talk about my sobriety, I always tell people reach out to me, man. Like, you know, it's that whole be of service thing. You try to live up to it. Sometimes it's hard. I get inundated with a lot. You'd be surprised, man. That's how I know it is an issue that so many people deal with, you know, in a real way, that even the listenership of the Rizzuto show, or sometimes through, I've sponsored comedians.
Okay.
Believe me, comedies.
Sure.
You know, And I always say, like, reach out to me. And, like, the Prevent Ed is always, like, the first resource because they have, like, an adult assessment. They will point you in the right direction. They'll figure out what you need. Do you need that inpatient 30 days? Can you do outpatient? They'll help you do, and they do free adult assessments, and they help you get on the right track and take that first step towards recovery. It's a great organization. I can't sing its praises enough. And they do all sorts of sans bar events.
Okay.
To make people feel fucking normal.
Yeah, man.
In the whole recovery process. And it's a good organization, real good people, man. So I did it a couple of years ago, and then I took a year off. My buddy Will O'Donnell did it last year, I think. And then I'm going to be back there September 6th, I think, at COCA, the Performing Arts.
Cool. Is that in Kirkwood?
Building. I want to say it's like Delmar.
Yeah, I think.
Right?
Okay.
It's right off the loop.
Yeah.
Why did I think?
That's where I did it last
Kirkwood
year.
Performing Arts Center.
I'm not a fucking liberal. I don't know that.
Yeah, you are too.
They keep thinking I'm a closet liberal.
That's because I'm an actual liberal and
Yeah.
he's not.
Wait, sorry, we don't get political. We just chirp each other because we call Jeff the liberal, right? But
okay.
I'm really interested in this. I want to.
Well, I'm a very progressive guy, despite everything your eyes are telling you right now. I say that on stage. It's hard to hear coming out of this face, head, and body, but I'm a pretty far left center guy myself. So if you don't like it, turn the fucking podcast.
Jacob thinks you're welcome. Jacob thinks my wife's dragging me that direction, and it's just because I don't.
She's
hate
a good
gay
woman.
people.
She is.
Fuck.
It's just because you don't hate the gays.
Like, and I don't think Jesus does either. So it's like, fuck, I'm the fucking liberal now.
Yeah.
I was telling these guys, I saw this the other day. I said, if you think the Pope's liberal, wait till you meet Jesus. And,
right.
Fuck. I want to check that out, though. That's awesome. It sounds really important. I totally can relate.
Cousin's band played the bar I worked at the night before, and I stayed up all night drinking with them. And I'm like, I got to go to this golf tournament. So I slept for 37 minutes.
For an important to you cause. It's and this little girl was a child. Yeah. She was a child, and she was looking death in the face, and
Fucking
it's like courage.
100%. And I went to this golf tournament, and like somebody had soaked watermelon balls and, rum and gin, and I'm already in the can when I showed up. And we're drinking. I couldn't, by the back nine, I couldn't even play. I was like, and they were like, don't let them drive the cart. Like, I was out of control. I was completely out of control. And
they take the golf cart keys away from me.
Right. And then we went back to the bar where they were doing like this silent auction. It was this thing to like raise money. And I wanted to be there and be present and participate. And I don't remember being there. I'm sure, people were like, oh, my friend's wife like bought an item and he and I were completely annihilated. Thought it'd be funny to go hide it from her and hide it in the trunk, just made it about me. I made it about me. I was a selfish prick.
You just kind of let off with active alcoholism and addiction that turns us into this selfish.
Of course. Person. And it's not even like you're not even actively aware of it at the time. You think you're just having a good time, but it's like everything is in service of the party or the next drink or cocaine was a way to keep drinking and like nothing will be more important than that. Like you might still care about people tangentially, but it'll never the needs of others will never supersede your need to service thyself.
If they close the bar down, you fuck everybody. You'd leave. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like if I can't get to my alcohol, I don't give a fuck about any of you until I.
Or I'm looking for a way to keep the party going. But I do remember he's had enough.
Yeah, fuck. He gets emergencies. Hey.
Yeah, he's got a fire to put out somewhere.
He's got a client.
I understand.
Trying to AMA. Needs a cigarette.
Let's go through his stuff. Grew up in Southern Illinois down by Carbondale, a little town called Dowell, Illinois.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
500 people in it.
And I know Southern Illinois.
Spelled Dowell, Dowell, do well, ironically.
Interesting.
No one is. I always say shorthand to let you know where I came from. Our business district was 4 taverns and 1 church.
My man.
Because we like Jesus one way, but we're a little more selective about who we be doing our drinking with.
Right, yeah. That I can imagine the bar.
So it was a little small, coal mining towns down there. Once coal mines died out, it became kind of a tough area.
Yeah.
So 57?
51.
51.
So in between Carbondale and DuQuoin.
Yeah.
So DuQuoin's where we did. That was our Kroger's. That was our movie theater.
DuQuoin's gotten rough. I was down there for some motorcycle races.
Yeah,
at their mile.
Yeah.
And it got hit.
I just think every time I go home, I feel like there's one more set of boards on windows that used to be. I was like, I seen it. It's weird seeing like your childhood memories get boarded up.
That is.
You know what I mean? That's a weird thing for anybody, and that's how you know you're getting older. Like, I remember like going to my childhood house, and it was like wrapped in vines, and I'm like, whoa, dude, that is a metaphor, brother. And I'm like, my childhood house is literally overgrown and wrapped in vines and vacant like that. A place that was like kept me dry is now got a hole in the roof.
Yeah.
And then the next time I went back, it was gone. It was bulldozed to the
Oh,
ground. And then like that's a weird thing too, to see like an empty lot where, you know, you used to sleep as a child. And it's like a weird thing, but it's like those areas like that go through that, I think, where, you know, economically there's struggles. And every time I go home, I feel like one more domino, but then it comes back, you know.
My Italian side is all from East St. Louis. So about 10 years ago, my 85-year-old uncle wanted to go back to Katy Avenue, the house he lived in. He was fucking gone upstairs. So we drove him, and he got out of the car and went and knocked on the door. And they were the nicest people. They let him in, had coffee, but it didn't look the same as the neighborhood he left in the 50s. But I think of, like, I've been to Southern Illinois quite a bit. Never heard of this town. I do know DuQuoin. Are those
it's on
bars
51, like, yeah. So, like, if you go, we're one town from the titty bars. So
Yeah,
it's like DuQuoin, then Dowell, then Elkville, then DeSoto, which is where JB's and all. That's where that's where Titty City was.
All right. Yeah.
And Carbondale, because they wouldn't allow it in the city limits.
Right.
So I was like, I was just like one town beyond it the other
Spend
way.
any time at those? You don't have to admit it on this show. But
no, I mean, John Bolin, JB is John Bolin, who is a friend of mine.
Right, so
I know the guy who owned it.
Right.
So,
You had
yeah,
a tab.
it wasn't weird to go in there and get your dad out of there.
Come on.
When I tell people stories of growing up in like the late 90s, it sounds like a child from the Dust Bowl is talking to you. Because when you grow up poor in the 80s and 90s, it's like a time warp that only goes back 24 years. So everybody's furniture was secondhand. So, like, I had 70s furniture.
Okay.
80s carpeting. You know, the decor was like, it was like I was growing up in a time machine that only went 20 years back. But I could go into the
Ran out of gas.
You know, there was a bar called the Veterans Inn that I would walk in as a child and buy my mom cigarettes.
Sure. Which
is not a story someone should be telling you that wasn't born, you know, during the Millard Fillmore administration. But that's just how it was. And they'd be like, don't open those.
There's 20 in there.
Your mom will tell us if you did. And I'm like, yeah, because everybody knows everybody in those small towns, you know, and they would sell me cigarettes and a bag of ice and penny Tootsie Rolls. I'd take if it was it was $1.78 back then for Salem Light 100s, that's 12 Tootsie Rolls, Holmes. I know how to do the math. That was my courier's fee, you know, and it was like, when you grow up in a place like that, it's kind of an odd, it's cool. And it's odd when you tell people like from other places about that. They're like, and now I got to fucking think about that.
Here comes just guilt.
Right. Yeah, guilt and shame. And those are a bitch. Those are, you know, and that's the thing, you know, like if you're going to get to healing, you got guilt and shame are bullies that live on the same block as self-fulfillment and healing. And like, you can avoid them for a while, but you're going to have to fight them eventually, right? You're going to have to they're the fucking kid.
I'm a good avoider too. Fuck, man.
Me too.
I can avoid like
eventually you got to be Ralphie and fight the fucking yellow-eyed kid, you know? Like, that's guilt and shame. And you're going to have to tussle. And it's not fun.
I think in the face.
So I think I was a little off balance already from all of that, like just from personal stuff.
Right, yeah.
And so there was a lot of jabs, and that was like a haymaker that came, because that's something that I always took solace in. Is I'm like, well, no matter what, I'm rooted in this persona of like, I am a protector, and I will try to fight for people. And sometimes you can get so deeply rooted into those parts of recovery that serve you well that they could not serve you well at times.
It also turns into pressure. Like, that's the thing about accountability, can turn into pressure really quick as well.
Yeah.
The pressure to be that guy. So if you have a hiccup or whatever it is, or just being human.
Yeah. We all do need this.
That's a group I made for Pond.
Yeah, and being a man too, man, it's hard being a dude, because I remember like, when you try to be vulnerable sometimes, like,
pussy.
Well, and it's not always just men. Sometimes it's women too. And, it'll be like women in my life have done that where I'm like, I'll say, they don't know they're doing it, but it's like, they'll say, my girlfriend's done it. We've had talks about it. She's, she's former heroin. She went to like Crossroads and that whole thing.
She's clean and sober.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, she's off heroin. She's like California sober.
Okay.
But,
better than heroin.
Much better than heroin. So, baby steps. But I've had like people say to me, and they don't realize how wounding this can feel when you're in that protector mode or you're trying to be, dude, I'm a giant guy. I'm like and I'm even keel. I'm kind of like, I welcome that role of a protector, but I've said stuff like, well, I'll be like, oh man, I need a second to gather myself because I don't want to cry during this conversation. And they'll say, oh, I don't even know how I would handle it if you cried.
Beautiful.
Do you know what I mean? And they don't mean anything by it, but it's like, it makes you feel like no one wants that part of you. No one wants to know that part of you. Mm-hmm. They want the part of you that makes them feel safe, or they want the part of you that makes them feel honored, respected, apologized to. And no, not a single person in this instance asked me if I was okay.
Right.
Because my character got insulted. And I was like, all right, I'll own that. Take it on the chin. But no one came to me after the fact and was like, hey, man, now that the dust is settled, are you good? And, I'm not trying to whine about it, but it was just a thing. And it kind of fucked me up. Like to have your character called into
question. I can tell it's still.
Well, yeah. It's over no more, but it's still, you're gonna feel it. I relate.
Yeah, I'm on the tail end of it now because I'm like, I went through my steps of like, all right, check in with the people you need to check in with. Like, I didn't go through a thing where I was like, hey, I'm gonna have a full.
Yeah, but you didn't let it get that close because you were fucking mindful.
I felt the push. Like, I felt the bottle. It was the first time in 10 years I felt the bottle inside me wobble.
Right.
We go through this thing, and I'm like, I wake up the next day, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, blacked out to this thing to support my friend, and the friend, she's still a good friend of mine.
Sure.
God love her. She loved me through the whole thing. And, I wake up and I look in the mirror.
I can feel it in your gut. I can feel it.
Yeah, dude.
I know that fucking feeling.
The rock in my gut. Because you do have a conscience.
Yeah.
At least I hope.
Rafe, I'm glad I feel it because I'm in 11 and a half years, but hearing your story as someone that's doing pretty good in this, like I need that fucking reminder. I don't ever want to get that feeling again, ever.
Me neither. And that is the gift the sobriety gave me is I don't ever have to be that guy.
No, sir.
And I worked in a bar when I got sober and I was like, was that hard? And I go, no, because I got to see the fucking guy every night that I never had to be again. Roaming from table to table, bothering the fuck out of people because he thinks he's Johnny Suave and he's just piss drunk. He's annoying. He's repeating himself.
God.
He's bumming smokes off strangers. And I'm like, you suck. You don't know you suck, but you fucking suck.
Hopefully one day you realize it.
And hopefully one day you realize it, but I don't ever have to be you. I don't have to be the drunkest guy in the bar again. And I had a little bit of an existential, and this sounds really fucking, hoity-toity, but I'm just being completely honest. Like, I did have a moment. It felt like Fight Club. I know it sounds really crazy, but like...
It doesn't, really, to the people that listen to this.
And probably people that have been through it. Like, I felt like the guy in the mirror was not me. And I felt like this real call to action in my, gut and my heart to where I was like, there are two people living in one body, and one of them has to die. And either this guy is going to kill me, and kill everything good and everything worthy, and the parts of myself that I felt like were good and decent, or I got to kill him. And it really felt like that was the time where I was like, dude, you got to dig in. Like the line in the sand is now. There's a cliff behind you. There's no more ground to give up, which sounds very over. And maybe I just had to create that moment for myself to make it real.
I think it's incredible.
I honestly don't know. It might have been.
I can see it in your eyes right now. About it.
Yeah, it was very real to me. And it was like, it was a watershed moment. It was and you don't have to have these to quit. I don't want people to feel like, well, I haven't gotten that, so I guess I'm good. And you don't have to let it get to that point. But there was just a point where I was like, you know what, man? Fuck you. And the best way I could describe it is disgust. And people will say well, you shouldn't hate yourself. You shouldn't. But I'm like, I'll tell you this, man. Disgust can be a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
Disgust can get you over the hump to self-care.
Bingo.
Ride whatever emotion you have to ride to get out of hell, right? Because that's where I was. I was in hell.
I can think of 30 people off the top of my head that I know personally that have had the moment that you're talking about, but they're too fucking scared to like say fuck you, like you said to it, and said I'm done. For some reason, it's like I that's my prayer for them. Just hear that and say fuck you. I'm done with this. Like that. Because I think they do look in the mirror in the morning, and they've called and told me this.
I know that happens.
Yeah.
That's what when I talk to people and they're struggling, or I talk to, I got friends that need it. I got friends I used to drink with then, they're still drinking.
Yeah.
And that are hurting. And I get like drunken messages at 3:00 in the morning. Like, man,
I want to fucking name call their asses out right now. Like,
yeah.
I'm thinking of
we all have them.
Yeah.
And you love them. And like they stop hanging out with you because there's almost a resentment for your sobriety because they know they need it for themselves.
Bingo.
And I hate that because I'm like, bro, I'm not judging you. Like I would rather you be spending time with me than out tearing yourself apart. But a lot of times, I
connect with you so much.
If somebody's a demon living in hell, they can't hang out with somebody who's not there with them because your sobriety is a reflection of their own failure in their eyes.
Right.
That's not real.
And I want it to be a reflection of hope. Right.
Exactly.
And
next we had Scott Spezio on the show. Scott's a former Major League Baseball player and a 2-time World Series champion with the Angels and the Cardinals. He's also been very open about addiction, ego, and what happens when life off the field starts to fall apart. Here's part of that episode.
Well, then we won the World Series, and then we're partying everywhere. We're in Vegas, hanging out with Axl Rose till 9 in the morning, and in Aruba and Phoenix, Scottsdale, and we're just all over the place. Back in Newport Beach and all that, and then it just got worse and worse and worse.
I've done coke. I did coke at the Balboa Bay Club in Newport Beach.
Yeah.
We have some. I don't know. Maybe we got some similarity.
Yeah.
Right.
U of I, Riverside women. And...
yeah. And so I, by the time I got to 2007, I'd pretty much given up everything in my life for two things, and that was drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, that could be like the name of a crux. You said you had mentioned before we came on, and we talk about it in a little bit, your book you're writing, but that's a real crossroad in your life right there. To that all of this 2 World Series, God-given talent, wisdom from your father. What a great father. You have a strained relationship now with your dad, which the first half of the podcast you can just hear it. Oozing through you how important he is to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a perfect storm for self-medicating and it getting out of control is what I hear. Injuries, depression, divorce, strained relationships. I mean, people that listen to this that are near and rock bottom or their families, these are all the big red flags here. And one of them's enough. You have about 4 of them. If counting, the restraint, strained relationship with your dad, who seems to be one of the, if not the closest person in your life. You're depressed, going through a divorce, like your family's falling apart, and here you are, kind of giving it all up for 2 things. To use there's the puppy.
Yep.
Giving it up for 2 things, alcohol and coke, and it's not like a choice you would have ever made.
No way. Like I would have never in a million years would I even thought I would ever try a drug, let alone be addicted to alcohol and drugs. So
right.
I definitely didn't want to tell anybody, and it was very hard, when that all came out in the front page of the USA, the USA Today sports page. I was on ESPN Sports Center, and they weren't disclosing what it was. So then people were starting come up with all sorts of stuff. Well, is he sniffing paint thinner? I heard he's sniffing gas.
Jesus.
Keep him away from the foul lines. Right.
That's funny.
So, you know, it's hard enough, like living. Most people don't want their own family to know, let alone the whole universe to know.
Most popular game in the world.
Yeah.
You got two. You've been to the top of the mountain twice. Where, I mean, the percentage of people is in the 1/100th%.
Yeah. Right.
So the stakes are much higher, and yeah, you're blasted across Sports Center. I do remember, it was nearing the end of my run in Champaign. Yeah, I was deep in alcohol and cocaine addiction. It's very similar. I always say that cocaine was a secondary. The gal that did that article, Jeff, said that I majored in alcohol and minored in cocaine. It was always something that allowed me to drink more alcohol. It was like a tool that I could abuse my drug of choice, which was alcohol, more when I did cocaine. It like sobered me up, I felt, and I could drink more and stay up later. So
right. I'm not laughing at you. My dog it's raining and he's a big fraidy cat. So he's
the Doberman pit bull. Oh, that's the lab. Okay. I was going to say
lab.
But you no, feel free to laugh. This is funny. I'm looking back at that, but I do remember after that World Series, I mean, your team, that 06 team, for a lifelong Cardinals fan, I was at Game 5 when you guys won it, and with my father, we were partying. But I remember the following year, the news coming out that you got like in an accident, I think in LA. And I may have some of the details, and I was like, oh shit, he parties, and I was like, he's a Scott Spezio. He won us a World Series. He's a part. Like I mistakenly thought it was fucking cool, and your life's falling apart because I was in the middle of my tailspin.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, I was really hot and not feeling good. I think I truly had a concussion from the airbag in the wreck. And then I was naked in bed. She had like a towel on my head, and then the cops were banging on the door. And she's like, there's 8 cops outside. And I'm like,
holy,
tell them I got pneumonia. And
God, I don't mean to laugh.
And she came back and she's like, they want to come in. And I'm like, tell them I wasn't out. Tell them I had pneumonia. Well, I figured they were going to come in. So I'm up on the 9th story. I end up naked, climbing off the balcony.
Oh, wow.
Had one hand on the rail, one foot on a dryer vent or something. And I swung down to the balcony below. I don't know how I didn't die. I mean,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And I got on the balcony below, and then I was like cold. So I opened the door, and it was open on the sliding glass door. It went inside, and it was like very little light. And I hid in a closet. Well, I don't even know who my neighbor was,
And you're butt naked?
I'm butt naked. I'm in the closet.
Holy shit.
And then I was wrestling around and knocked all the whole rack of clothes off, made a huge noise. I'm like, oh crap. So I opened the thing and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm your neighbor. Sorry. And nobody responded. So then I I turned on the lights, put on a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. I looked in the bedroom. Nobody was in there. There was a Viagra. So I grabbed the Viagra. There was a Viagra laying on the nightstand. I popped the Viagra and went and opened a bottle of champagne that was over the fridge. Started drinking the bottle of champagne, and
boy,
yeah, it was crazy. And then I waited a little bit. I was gonna climb back up. When I started going back up, my wife was looking for me. She didn't know where I went. And she saw me. She's like, oh, my God, go back in. They're still here. So I went back in, and then she came down and got me. I went back up the stairs. And the next day, they were still knocking on the door. I went down the freight elevator into my car. We went up. Now it's New Year's Eve day, so the 31st. And went up to Lake Arrowhead, spent the night there. Had a buddy
you didn't get caught? They didn't catch you?
Caught. No, I went up there.
I don't want to glorify this, but this is a fucking hell of a story.
Yeah, I partied up there New Year's Eve.
Are you telling people this story while you're up there?
Well, yeah, I told my.
It's hard to believe. So people are like, okay, like this is crazy.
Yeah, it's not over yet. And then my neighbor's wife got arrested that night. Had to bail her out the next morning.
The level of humility that one goes through to do that at your age, humility, I think was saved my life. The day I checked into rehab, I became humble. I mean, you look around and you're like, how the fuck did it get to this? And I just hear a level of humility that is inspiring to be able to do that. That's going to help me through some hard shit in life. You just saying that. I mean it, that I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
Thank you for
tough.
sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I knew it was like, I didn't have the willpower. I needed him to save stuff because I did not want to be one that was left with absolutely nothing. And so he did that, and it was hard, like they would bring me all these groceries, if I wanted to go somewhere, I either had to ride my bike or, beg somebody for a ride. For a while there, I was still able to manipulate people to bring me alcohol or to scrounge up enough money to buy like cheap Skull vodka or, some awful vodka like that,
A 2-time World Series winner, like buying plastic jugs. It's what I was doing.
Yeah, lots of them.
I was a horrible little league player. We have a lot in common, but I was all right at second base. I was a below average hitter in Corey League. Yeah. I was a hockey player though, Scott. I was a hockey player.
Yeah, you guys are tough. So like he, eventually I got, I stopped using the drugs. I was still struggling with the vodka. I had a girl that I had met that, just said she wanted to help me. And so she would come and like sometimes bring me food. And if I had stuff here, she would pour my drinks and she would like dilute them. And,
interesting.
And then one day my back was hurting. My back was hurting for a while. And, I was one of those guys when they tell me like your liver enzymes are elevated or you better stop,
sir.
I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm different, my liver is evil. It needs to be punished. I got too much blood in my alcohol system. I used to joke, I used to joke around a lot. And so I'd go to rehab. I'd get my levels would be better. I'd start drinking again. And so my back was hurting. I went, to get an MRI. When I came out, my eyes were yellow. Now, I don't know if there was something else going on, if I had a kidney stone or what, or if it was all alcohol, I don't know. I ended up being jaundiced, and it took them took her 24 hours to get me into the hospital. I refused. And then finally I went and they told me like, everything's shutting down. You got a 20% chance to live. You're going to have to wait. If you can make it, you're going to have to wait 6 months without drinking before you can have your transplant.
Yep.
And that's like one of the first times, instead of me asking God for help, I asked him to take away my cravings. I said, God, help me. But I said, will you please take away my cravings so I don't have cravings anymore? So I was a guy that never
That's a specific
liked
prayer.
alcohol. Yeah. I never liked alcohol. I never used drugs. And I went from that guy that never thought I would ever see a drug or drink alcohol to a guy that now was thinking, man, how am I going to go 6 months without drinking? Even though I'm facing death. And so I said, God, take away my cravings. And so, there was times in the past where I'd go past Chili's and I'd see margaritas, 50% off or 2 for $1, and my mouth would start watering. But once I said that prayer, from that was April 6th, 2018. From that day on, I've had no cravings whatsoever. Whenever I see alcohol, like hard alcohol, I feel like I'm going to throw up. Like it's just this instinctive. I remember in the past, people would say, replay the tape of like your worst, rock bottom times. But like you said, you hate throwing up. I don't like throwing up, but I did it a lot. And I'd feel that like my stomach's starting to get ready to throw up. And so that still happens to this day. So I've had no drugs, no alcohol.
Amen, man. Amen.
No cravings.
when I gave one of his eulogies, and he had been to rehab 18 times, and I told his mom that he don't listen to the noise of him being a drug addict or a junkie. 18 times is someone that's not a quitter, man. He fucking fought this to the end. That's 18 withdrawals from fucking fentanyl, like 18 medical detox. You have to have medical detox from alcohol or we could die from it. I mean, it's not a picnic. So, I mean, you fought, man.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I did alcohol detox without medical attention.
Whew.
And I was lucky to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, probably dozens of times I did that. And then, you know, the other 12 in rehab, you know, and
sure.
I mean, I don't know how many other times in hospitals I would go get rehabbed and then, detoxed and then come home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, like it's easy to put a stigma. I was that way when I was younger and didn't understand. You know,
sure.
Now I understand it. It is a disease. It makes you do stuff that you would never do in a million years if you were yourself. You know, it kind of turns you into a narcissist and you know, like I said, you give up everything that is important in your life for you know, that one thing or those two things, you know, and it overrides everything. And
it's like it takes the place of God, almost like you move God over and put your disease in. It takes the driver's seat from you.
Yeah,
from him.
You end up pushing God away. One, because the like you said, it overrides God. But two, because you feel guilt and shame, and you feel like you're not worthy to even have a relationship with God. Now, I still would pray, and I would still read the Bible here and there. And you know, it took me a long time. Like, even when I started realizing I wanted to come out of it, I would always isolate. I wouldn't even, I'm in the middle of 47 acres. I wouldn't go outside. My lawn looked like crap. Sure. I would believe the devil's lies. Like, you know, you blew your chance. You lost your platform. Nobody wants to hear from you. You're a loser, you know.
Enemy, man.
Yeah, enemy, fiery darts, you know. And then I started reading the Bible and I started seeing, wait a second, you know, I started remembering the story of David. Like, you know, he lusted after his top general's and friend's wife, you know, Bathsheba, and had sex with her and got her pregnant and then brought him in to sleep with her. He wouldn't. So then he sent him back to the front line to die, you know, and after all that, God, you know, he turned to God and said, you know, forgive me, I'm a sinner. And God, you know, eventually said he was a man after his own heart. You know, Paul crucified Christians, you know, tortured them, put them to death. Moses killed somebody. You know, you go through the Bible and you look and you're like, wait, you know, I said, you know, if God can forgive those guys for things they did, then he can forgive me. And if he can use those guys, then he can use me in some way. You know,
sure.
I'm not going to write half of the New Testament, right? But
hey, it ain't over yet, brother. You never know.
Right. Yeah. So I mean,
Later in season 2, we sat down with Anthony Slaughter. Anthony's a former TV meteorologist. He's a single dad and someone who's been open about recovery, career loss, and figuring out who you are when the things that defined you disappears. Now, this is from that conversation.
So when I was about 7 or 8 years old, my dad married this woman, stepmom, and she was very strict. But we had a house and it had a basement, and, you know, 10, 11 o'clock, you're up at night and you're just surfing channels, and you may come across like Cinemax or Showtime, you know. And I think they were right next to the Weather Channel. Like, it was like one up or down. Okay. So it was real easy to get to be like, I was just watching the weather.
You got a quick trigger.
You're playing the long game, huh?
My stepmom was at the steps up the top. She's like, what are you looking at? And I was like,
boy.
Click. And the weather was on. And so that's kind of how I fell into it.
That's incredible.
I tried to avoid it for so long. You had to actually go to school for it.
I loved it after that. I was like, this is so cool. And tornadoes. And I did a project in middle school about tornadoes. And, you know, the flood of 93. It was like stuff was happening when we were growing up where it was like, it was interesting. So. And then Paul Goodloe was a person on Channel 5 that actually went to the Weather Channel. And he was a black guy. He is a black guy. And, you know, me being in a black biracial family.
Sure.
All my family's black here in St. Louis, and my Portuguese side's in Boston. I was like, oh, this guy looks kind of cool, like the way he does it. You know, it was like he had kind of a swagger to him. And then I didn't know that he had gotten fired from Channel 5 when he was here.
Oh wow.
I was just a kid, and I was watching the Weather Channel / Cinemax. So, you know, that's not how it happened. But everybody, I was just like, oh yeah, I just like clouds. Like, you know,
that's
the
funny.
version.
Yeah, right. That's what you tell them.
Yeah.
So, have you ever met and talked to Paul?
No, but I follow him on Instagram, and he doesn't follow me back.
Not yet.
Paul, no. But also, Janice Huff was another meteorologist who was here, and she went to San Francisco, where I went as well for about 6 years. And then she followed me when I was out there because I was on the fast track to go to New York or like L.A. And I just had kids and then everything changed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fascinated by all of this. So
my wife and I watched you on your first stint here, and then when you left, we're like, all right, we're not KSDK anymore. And then you came back, and we're like, all right, we're back. Now we're not there anymore.
Yeah. I told Anthony, my mother,
love-hate relationship.
I got to get a picture with him and send to my mom. She has the biggest crush on you.
I hear that. They're like, my 100-year-old grandmother just thinks the world of you. And I'm like, put in a good word for me up there, okay?
Yeah. Amazing.
That's funny. So, yeah.
That's where the money is.
Hey, that's who's watching the news, at least, you know. Yeah. There aren't people who are, you know, 25 and 20 and 19 and 15 watching news anymore.
No. Yep.
They're just watching TikTok.
I watch, I got stuck on Channel 4 because during my drinking days when I like stopped paying cable bills and stuff, you just get the regular channels, and I'm totally still in to Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful, and I've talked about my stories often
still come
on this
TV?
podcast. Yeah, oh yeah, baby. The stories are getting good. And Victor Newman's still up to his schemes.
Wow. I didn't know that. I don't have regular channels. I only see things at the gym, so there's like an hour of TV that I get.
Yeah. You got a special.
I remember having a conversation with one of my managers because I asked, it was the first year I didn't get a raise, and I go, well, how come I didn't get a raise this year? I mean, I stayed late. I did extra work. I filled the gap. You know, they tried to, oh, you're not a team player. Like, I was like, I did all that shit. And they go, well, it's because you're still the number 3 meteorologist. And I went,
excuse me?
Let me show you a number 3 meteorologist. And then last year went on to win St. Louis Magazine's #1 meteorologist in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And then the person who said that to me literally sent me the picture, one of my bosses.
Holy shit.
Congratulations, so proud of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, nothing like being a #1 meteorologist.
Nice. God.
And then you know what else happened? That same year, we had 2 big severe tornado outbreaks. And the coverage that I was on in the morning at like 3 in the morning, #1 on the Tegna tag board, which is like across all platforms for all stations all across the country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I sent it back. Nothing like being a #1 meteorologist. But like, how dare you try to say because of your fucked up show that nobody wants to watch to try to assimilate that to me.
Yeah.
And I get it. They got a boss too. And what I was hearing from the head of the company is that none of the stations were performing good enough. We got like did not meet expectation. I was like, I never had that shit. I didn't even know that existed. Yeah. Like on my review, I was like, are you kidding me? I didn't meet I'll show you did not meet expectation.
Right.
And I think that's when they were like, well, we just got to let him go because it didn't work.
Right.
I think it backfired on their behalf because it was like, I wasn't willing to take a did not meet expectation. You're a #3 meteorologist, no rate, like all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And then, we still need you to do like extra work weekly.
Right.
Like not just every year they add stuff, but every week it was like, we're going to try this week and see if it works. It's like, can you just let something be? That was the biggest problem with that station. They just could not let something be. They can't let it live on. They see the ratings and they're like, knee-jerk reaction. We got to change it immediately.
Yeah.
And I hated that because you're constantly chasing your tail of like, what do they want? What's going to please them? What makes them happy? And then you lose sight of like, I'm supposed to actually be having fun.
Right.
Entertaining the viewer, educating the viewer, to where it turned, and I wrote this in my post when I first got let go, it turned from me wanting to please the community to just wanting to please one person in that building, and that was the boss. And I had to figure out where that person lived at. so that whenever storms popped up right over their house, a big lightning bolt, we're on TV.
Holy shit.
Hey, we're breaking in the news coverage this morning because of the storms. Because if we weren't, we get our ass handed to us.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a loud lightning bolt at 3:33, and I was wondering where you were.
They said shit like that?
Yes.
That's fucked up, man.
I remember like one time,
elementary school.
one of my bosses saw the skies were getting dark. And so, oh, there's a storm. You need to go on air. I was like, yeah, it's just a regular storm. It's not severe. But it's so dark out. You need to get on air and just say that. And I was like, but it's not severe.
Yeah.
In our protocol, we don't get on storm when it's not severe. Well, this looks severe to me.
Well, here.
Well, I'm the meteorologist, so who are we going to fucking listen to?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that to my boss, right?
Yeah.
So you get on air and you're like, hey, everybody, thank you for joining me today on interrupting your golf.
And they pick that the guys that gets pissed because I'm watching the U.S. Open.
And then I got to be happy about it and do like a 5-minute fucking dance because the boss wants you to be fucking on.
I'm trying
and
to
then
watch
you get
Pat
off and you
Sajak,
read these
damn it.
emails and you're like, yeah, fuck you too.
Yeah.
So do you think,
and then you leave work so annoyed that the first thing you want to do is go drink.
I was just going to ask you, this doesn't sound like anything that's conducive to, like, if you're already deep in a bottle a day. Well, no fucking wonder.
Yeah. I was called a faggot my whole life.
Jesus.
You know, from random people at school and, you know, you gay and you sissy boy. And I remember when I got to college and, like, there were all these girls and they're like, hey. And I'm like, hey. And I'm like, no one can tell? Like, everyone just all of a sudden thought I was straight. And I don't know how it happened or what. Maybe because I grew a beard.
Or did you have a beard, a girlfriend?
I don't have a beard, a girlfriend.
You're like my friend's
It
Indian
was just
Ben.
so weird. It was like all of a sudden everyone was like, you know, let me hook up with this beautiful girl at church. I'm like, wow, so just no one can see it anymore? And so then, you know, you go to this place where everybody's like, well, I'm coming out. And it's like, well, how do you come out? Like, what are you coming out of? Because I never felt like I needed to come out.
Really?
For me, it was like, stay in.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, you don't want to have to deal with that. And I remember thinking as a kid, like, I could never see myself married to a man. I struggled with that idea. Like, I don't think my family would come to the wedding. I don't think they would support me. I don't think they would visit me.
But you're told you're an abomination. No fucking
Oh, yeah.
wonder.
And as a kid. And so I was just like, oh, you know, well, I'll just keep trying to be straight and, you know, keep trying to fit into this mold. And so when I got to college, I actually studied, I had a semester where I studied religious studies. I did history of Christianity, origins of religion, and Native American religions all in the same semester.
Wow.
And it was the greatest thing because I, you know, compare my notes. And one of the things that I found very fascinating, which I'm not going to get into, but Mother Earth, Native Americans, they were the only religion that their deity was a woman. Every other man-made religion, that God is a man, or thought to be, you know, or talked about like a man. And so I started seeing like, oh, there are some discrepancies here, you know, like, and then you start reading about Buddhism and Islam, and I was like, well, oh, they don't even believe in Jesus, and they're like the bigger religion on earth. And so then I had this book called The Children Are Free. And I remember I got this book when I was 16 years old. I didn't read it till college. But in the book, it talks about all of the quote-unquote gay bashing scriptures.
Right.
And it basically lets you decide for yourself. It gives you the historical context behind it, you know, putting you in that specific time to help you understand it better. Like the Leviticus script,
so,
you know, Leviticus scripture.
It also
like,
tells people to cut their fucking hands off.
You know, and go to the wood, just flee to the hills when you're on your period, and
sell
don't
your
eat
fucking
pork.
daughter to.
Yeah.
Leviticus is bullshit.
But it was all a set of rules for that time, right?
Right.
For just that moment in time. It wasn't like this is what needs to be forever, but those people in that moment in time needed that. I think like same with the 10 Commandments, you know. I think for those moments in time, like if people read it like a history book, they could understand it better. And I think that helped me understand God better. Because it wasn't just God is this angry person who's ready to send you to hell, which in Pentecostal churches, that's how it's preached, you know, fire and brimstone. And so as I got older,
it's Catholic bullshit too. With
I started realizing like there are so many different kinds of people, so many people that have different beliefs. Like surely that this one thing is not just singled out. Like I'm not just this is not this one thing that's going to send, you know, millions of people to hell, right? And when I was comparing those notes in the scriptures, I was finding that the word homosexual doesn't even exist in Arabic and Hebrew.
Right.
So how is it even in the Bible? And so there were these moments where my eyes were illuminated. Like, I got to find out, and I would dig deeper.
So yeah, that's some of what season 2 looked like for us. We're really grateful for every guest who trusted us enough to sit down and talk honestly, and none of that gets taken lightly. And if you listened during season 2, whether it was one episode or you were there every week, if you shared the show, sent a message, or told someone else about it, thank you. This show only works because people are willing to show up and tell the truth, and because other people are willing to hear it. We don't take that for granted. We'll keep doing this. We'll keep having the conversations that don't always fit neatly anywhere else. And we're really glad you're here for it. Thanks for listening.